Hey everybody, welcome to Fab Fit Friday. I'm kind of excited because I worked on my new bodice during the week, and you can see it behind me. I'm gonna get it. All right, so you can see the sleeve fits really well into the armhole, and I've already tried it on. So what I want to do is I want to show you a couple things here that I'm going to fix, and then I'm going to try it on me so you can see how it fits. Now I'm really excited because this is a snug sleeve for me, and I think I had more range of motion in this sleeve than other ones, so I'm really kind of excited about this little project. Let me just stop and say hi to Barbara. Good afternoon. Hi, Diane. Welcome. Hi, Mary. Hi, Polly. Oh, Polly says, hi, everyone. I thought last week's video creating sleeves was one of Jen's best. Sleeves are always the hardest for me. And Sandra M is greetings from Sewing Retreat in WNC. Well, welcome, and I'm so happy you're watching during a sewing retreat. It's kind of exciting. Oh, hi, Dawn. All right, here is the sleeve that I played with last week. And what I want to do is show you some things here. I've already tried it on because I couldn't wait. So I know that my shoulder is about 1/2 inch too long. So I'm going to show you here. I used an old sheet that had been hanging around here to sew this. Now what I want to show you is here. Let's move this out of the way. I caught the fabric in a couple places when I was sewing it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out, and I'm also going to trim my shoulder 1/2 inch, because when I put this on, it was hanging off of my shoulder about that much. So here's what I'm going to do. You can see this is my armhole. I'm going to take it out from here to here, and then I'm going to trim 1/2 inch off of the shoulder. So let's, so instead of like doing like serious, I'm going to kind of down and dirty just because it's already constructed. So I'm going to break my stitching here, and then I'm going to just take it out from here to here. And maybe what I'll do is I'll leave one sleeve like it is. I'm just going to fix one so you can see the difference. It's really important to have your sleeve sitting on your shoulder, not hanging off the, the tip of your shoulder, because it affects not only the fit of the sleeve, but it also affects how the bodice directly underneath it is fitting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just quickly take this apart. And then after we do this, and I show you how this fits, I also have the half scale pattern. I shrunk the pattern 50%, so it's half scale, and we're going to walk it into the armhole of the half scale bodice for my half scale ditto form, and then we're going to sew it in and see if that one fits. Well, we're going to walk it first, but the one thing about the ditto form sleeve for the mini is that it doesn't have to really fit an arm, because it's, I don't have a half scale arm to worry about. So basically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm literally just taking out the seam. Like I said, I'm only going to do one. All right, so I've separated the sleeve cap, and what I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to, this is going to be like down and dirty. Let's lay it like this. All right, I'm going to measure in 1/2 inch like this across the shoulder seam, and then I'm just very gradually, I'm going to blend back to 0 here. Something like that. I might have to take it out a little bit more so I can get a nice gradual chain thing here. All right, so I've got that. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to... So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just trimming off a 1/2 inch. And then I'm just going to cut. And I'm going to be very gradual all the way to the very, very edge, like that. And again, I'm going to do it on this side. And I'm going to save this scrap because if this works, I'm going to use this scrap as a template to take it off my paper pattern. So I do not want to lose this little scrap. So basically what I've done here is that I've just shortened my shoulder a 1/2 inch. Okay. Let me stop and say hi to Rose Gold. Hi all, this is perfect timing because I'm working on a sleeve. Oh, perfect. All right, so now I'm going to sew this back up. And I think what I'm going to do here is, let's just, I lost half my gathers. I took out the gathers inside the seam allowance, but I think I can just very easily fit it back in here, and then I'm going to try it on. And then after I try it on, like I said, we're going to work with the 1/2 scale, which I already have prepped and ready to go. So again, I'm just going to use some pins to just to pin it back in here, and I'll just sew it up quick, and we're going to try it on. I'm using the Taylor Seville magic pins, which I absolutely love. And then one of my little gifts when I was in Kentucky teaching for the Master Garment Group was, look, they gave me this cute little mini pin cushion, and it says Family and Consumer Sciences from University of Kentucky in there. So I thought that was kind of fun. My little mini magnetic pin cushion. All right, so you can see I'm just sort of evenly distributing the ease back into the cap here. So you can see that's how it looks. All right, so let me just sew that now. I have my sewing machine right here, ready to go. Okay. All right, so let's sew this together and see, and we'll see how this, I'll put this back on so you can see how it fits me. I'm just going to lower this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Let's make it really, really sharp. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to start sewing right here. And I'm sewing inside the circle. Make sure everything's nice and even. Okay, so I'm not doing my best inserting a sleeve right now. Right now I just want to make sure it fits. So I'm trying not to pinch the fabric, but I'm also hurrying. And I really should have added my second row of basting back on. Okay. All right. That was nice and easy. Let me just move this out of the way for a minute. And what I'm going to do here is I have a tank top on, so I can just show you, I'm not going to, I can use my monitor as a mirror, so don't be alarmed. I'm taking my shirt off, but I have a shirt on underneath it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put this on inside out. Okay. So now if you remember correctly, this is my, this is the bodice that I draped on the half scale, and then I increased it 200% to make it full size. So this was draped on my half scale dress form. So let's remember that. Okay. So I think you can see, I'm just going to overlap it a ½ inch like this. And I think we'll be able to tell which sleeve. I want to say is it that one or is it this one? Okay, so I think this is the one I fixed, but what I want to show you here is, let me just throw in a couple pins to keep it shut. So I'm overlapping it about 1 inch because there's a ½ inch seam allowance here. So I'm going to put a pin there, and I'll put a pin down here. Okay. All right, so I think you can see this is a really snug fitting sleeve. It's very tight around my wrist, but I think you can see it fits pretty nicely. And look how much range of motion I have. Now, obviously, when I lift my arm up, you know, but I mean, for you know, just doing this without ever fitting it onto my body, I feel like really this is a comfortable sleeve. So I'm very excited about this. Okay, and I think you can see this one is on my shoulder. This one's hanging off my shoulder a little bit. So if you want to look at that closer, see how that's just hanging off just a little bit. Whereas this one is, you know, this one is on the shoulder better. That's the one I took off the ½ inch. So good. ½ inch too long. You can see it's hanging off my shoulder. All right, so super excited about this. Now there is an elbow dart, and if I zoom in on that, I think you can see there's the elbow dart. So see, when I bend my elbow, it helps a very snug sleeve, you know. So I'm amazed how comfortable the sleeve is because it's so snug. So very happy with the sleeve. I'm going to take these pins off and take this off. I'll put it back on my ditto form here, right side out this time. All right, so all in all, I am super excited about this because it really did come out nice. And when I look at how it fits my ditto form, I think you can see it fits very, very similarly. See? So that's how it fits her. And I'm going to put my shirt back on because it's freezing here. All right, so I'm super excited. All right, let's see what I have here. A comment from Rose Gold. Your right sleeve looks so much better. Do you think about adding a gusset? What do you think about adding a gusset to a sleeve pattern? Okay, so anyone who's in my J Stern Designs YouTube Insider Club, I showed how to add a gusset under the arm for a sleeve that is too snug under the arm. So the right side, So the right side is the one that I fixed. So that's why it looks better. So I shortened my shoulder a half an inch on the right side. That's why it's fitting better. So I'm, you know, is that a perfect sleeve? No. Can I fine tune it? Yes. But remember, I started out, and if people anyone who missed the beginning of this, I started out with these half scale pieces. Let me switch my view. Okay, so here's my my muslin pieces that I used to make a half scale for my ditto form, which I have over there, my half scale. Then I made them into pattern pieces like this, and then I trued them up. So I took these, I trued them up and made actual pattern pieces like this. Okay, so these pattern pieces right here, center front, center back, you know, side front, side back. Okay, so these pieces right here are the pieces that I blew up to make these pieces. And here are the trace copies of my full size. So basically, this and this is a half scale pattern piece for, let me just make it a little bit bigger here so you can see, a little bit darker maybe. All right, so this piece is a half scale for this piece. So these are the full-size pieces that I just used to sew together, and then I fit this sleeve in there. So I brought the sleeve to the printer. I brought this to the printer and I scanned it in and I shrunk it 50%. So here's the 50% sleeve. Okay, so Barbara's asking how do I fix the gap when raising your arms? All right, so first of all, you have to remember what I'm working with right now. What this is a sloper with really not that much ease. Okay, so there's not a lot of ease in there. I think if I had it buttoned all the way up, it wouldn't gap as much. I think I had 2 pins in it, and of course, if you just have 2 pins holding a center front shut, it's going to pull open the minute you move your arms. But I will tell you that I can really move my arms, and there's a lot of range of motion in there. It did not feel tight to me. So it's really got potential. I'm going to have to make it into a fashion pattern. So right now I have a sloper that doesn't really have ease. And if I want to make a wearable garment, I will add ease. And I think that will stop it from gaping open when I lift up my arms. But I'm really thrilled with the way this process has been going from half scale to full scale. And I just want to address Rose Gold. She added a gusset to her sleeve pattern, but you have not yet sewed it up to see how it works. So there's 2 ways to do a gusset. If you already have a sleeve, you can make a gusset as a separate piece that goes in between the seam, or you can add it to your pattern. And just as a quick reminder to everybody, if anyone's wondering about this, I'm just going to quickly trace this off, just the top of it here, like this. So I'm just going to trace the sleeve here. So really what a gusset is, and what a gusset does for your sleeve, is it basically reduces the height of your cap, right? So if you wanted to, add a gusset, you're basically filling in this area. And the way I would do that is I'd have my back notch and my front notch. And what I would do, I'm going to use a different color. So I would increase my underarm seam you know, however much, decide how much higher you want to go or how much you want to fill in. So let's say it's this much, then you redraw your curve up like this. Okay, so this is basically, all of this blue is basically the gusset, but this edge is shorter. A little brighter here. Is shorter than the original. So you measure the original, and I'm getting 2 1/4. So then you measure out 2 1/4, and basically 2 1/4 sticks me out to here. And so what you would do is you would also fill it like this. So essentially that's how you would add a gusset, or that's how I would add a gusset to a sleeve before I sewed it. Because what you're doing now is you're moving your bicep line, which was here. So here was your bicep line, here. Now your bicep line is up here. You know, it's higher. So you've reduced the distance between the cap and the bicep line, which gives you more range of motion. Okay, so that's how I would add a gusset to something I haven't sewn yet. You're going to do it to both sides, right? So you would fill in this side too, like this, and it would look something like this. I'm not measuring the side, but you get the idea. So this would be your gusset, right? And then you would sew that together. So that's how you can add a gusset if you want to try to do that. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to get rid of all of my full-size pieces so I don't lose them from over here. And we're going to work with, here is my half-scale sleeve. Now there is a seam allowance in here. I've added, you know, there is a seam allowance built in, so it's about 1/2 inch like this. Okay, these are my notches. Notch, notch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk the back sleeve into the back armhole first. We're going to test it. Okay, like this. So I'm walking it along the actual stitching lines. Right, Rose Gold is saying, since you reduce the cap height when you add the gusset, do you add more height? No, you do not add more height. You do not add more height, because what you're doing is you're adding ease inside the sleeve for your arm to move independently of the fabric. So you do not add more cap height. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but all right, so I'm walking this. This right now is where my back is. That seems really long. And then let's see my front. I think this cap is not going to fit this armhole. Let's walk this little weirdo sleeve I have here. Okay, so my front is right here. It's right here. So my front is here. My back is way down here. So that means I have negative ease, and that means these armholes are longer than the cap. Now, here is something I did when I was looking at my actual armhole. I want to show you something that I did. I reevaluated how the armhole was fitting me, and what I ended up doing was I ended up filling in all of this. So my original Right here's my side seam. So not there. This was my original edge. So see all of this right here? I'm just going to color it in blue so you can see. Okay, so all of this blue, I filled that in because when I looked at it really closely on my ditto form and on my body, I felt like I needed more width to the armhole. Like I felt like this was standing too far away. And what that allowed me to do is close one of these. Remember when I was working on my sleeve last week, I spread it again. You know, first I spread it a little bit, then I spread it more. So that actually made my armhole smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this same adjustment to my half scale, and I'm going to see if that makes the sleeve then fit. So let me just show you that piece. Because if you look at this, if you look at how round this is not the front armhole, this is the back armhole. So if we look at my ditto form, let me get that over here. I'm just going to bring her over here so you can see her. Right here. I did not mark the position of my sleeve, I mean my armhole on my half scale, and I should have. And I also should have marked it like on the how do I, oh yeah, here we go. I'm just gonna move this so you can see this, and I think you'll be able to see this now. So see right here, this is really, I think, needs to be filled in a little bit, and I didn't fill it in because I never marked my actual stitching line for my armhole on my half scale. Okay, so I think you can see from the back, if I fill this in a little bit, it'll fit better. It's also going to make the armhole smaller. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some paper, and I have a bunch of scraps from working on this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape some paper here. All right, so just so everyone understands, I'm working back and forth between the mini and the full size. And, you know, I made the change to the full size pattern piece right here, but I didn't adjust it on here yet. I wanted to see if the sleeve, I'd get the same thing I got from the other one with it being too long. So what I'm going to do here is I'm literally just going to come in and fill this and make it look more like what I think a back armhole would look. And this amount that I'm filling in is really the same little wedge I see on my half scale. So if you look at this blue that I'm filling in here, now, and to me, that edge looks more like a back armhole instead of looking like a front armhole, right? So what I'm going to do is cut that out now. So if this were the full sleeve, we just want to check it. Whenever you change anything in an armhole, you want to make sure it still makes a nice shape with the front. Okay, so I'm going to put this back together here, and I'll just fold back one seam allowance so I can line up this seam allowance with this seam allowance. And you can see that that still makes a nice shape. We've got a nice smooth shape going front to back. But this looks better to me. And if anything, if you look at the front of the ditto form, and actually I'm just going to take her off the stand and show you. So if you look right here, this right here looks like this could be dug out a little bit. And what I mean by that is I probably could be more of a, like this, right? Like I didn't do any fine tuning, but basically I feel like this fabric is a little bit too close. And this is not the ditto form's fault. This is my draping job, right? So see how I have this tape on my ditto form? Technically, when you're draping, you should mark your shoulder seam with that tape, and I did not do that because I was just so excited to try this. But when you get one of these ditto forms, either a half scale or a full scale, you get extra black tape with it, so you could mark that shoulder and that armhole, and then I would have gotten a more accurate result. Because you can see here, I needed to, maybe fill in back here because it was too far away, and then in the front I could dig it out a little bit. And you'll notice if I do that, like if I just come over here and maybe just create more of a a slightly dug out, it's going to look more like a front armhole if I do something like that. And then if you put the shape, then it's more of a nice C shape, right? Because well, let me just redraw my back and forth. So this is now my seam allowance right here. So I filled in that gap. Okay, and then so if I just erase this blue, because that's annoying to look at, one of the reasons why I love my friction pens, really this is where I fixed it in here. Like I added this right in here. Right, so when you look at it like this now, I think you can see that this is a better shape in terms of looking like a nice C. So I'm digging this out a little bit, so that means this will have to be, I'm just going to change my seam allowance, needs to do something like this. So then if I cut that off, okay. So I'm much happier with that shape. Okay, so now that I have that, let me just re-walk it one more time and let's see what we have here. So I'm going to take my back. I'm just going to line it up with my back. What did I do with my stiletto? There it is. Sleeves are tricky. They have to fit not only, let me do it this way. They not only have to fit the armhole, but then they also have to fit the body. So all right, you can see that that's a huge improvement. Because see, now my back is right here. So my back is no longer here. It's right here, back. And my front, let's block the front. It's still going to be a little bit too small because I added to the... All right, so I'm sorry. Somehow I think I knocked my mouse and I shut my OBS off, so you missed a chunk of what I was doing. But basically I walked the front and back sleeve, and now I only have a 1/4 inch of negative ease. And because this is a half scale, I really am not gonna, I am not going to add a ton of ease. I think I probably only need a 1/2 inch or a little bit less, 3/8 of an inch of ease across here because it's such a short distance. So I think what I'm going to do is, I feel like this looks like this is trunked off, like it could extend out. So I'm actually going to, what I'm going to do here, just to make it really easy, give my Scotch tape a little bit of a break. What I'm going to do is I am going to My little pattern weight here. I'm just quickly going to trace this like this. Okay, and then I'm going to extend out. We're going to extend this out like 3/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to go like this. All right, so that will back my back up. So if my back was at here and I add 3/8 here, my new back will be just to the right, I'm sorry, just to the left of the front, because I've added this much right here. Okay, that'll get rid of my negative ease problem. So now I don't have a negative ease problem, and my back will move to right here, right, because I added that much there. And then I only have like a 1/16 inch or an 1/8 inch of ease at this point. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to well, just for simplicity's sake, I think I'm just going to add it. Well, I don't want to add it there. I'm gonna cut it here. I've added in the back. In the front, I'm just gonna cut it right here and add it like this. So I'm gonna cut this like this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this out. Let me line that back up like that. I'm just going to push this out 1/4 so I have the ease right there like that. Okay, so I'm just going to push that out like that. So I'm just going to retrace from my top. I'm just going to come, well, maybe I'll come up and then come right here, trace that, and then I can trace this. And then I'm just going to finish tracing my sleeve. Okay. All right, so as you can see, I added from here to here. Okay. So you can see what I added, this little bit right here, you know, this much of a gap right there. So I think this will be a good sleeve. I'm just going to draw here's my bicep line. Oh, I need my dart. So my dart is right here. I'm just going to mark the tip of the dart right here. All right, so here's my dart. Okay. All right, so there's my nice sleeve. Make it look nice. All right, so now I'm gonna cut this out and try this. And because so just to remind everybody, what I did here was I just pushed this out that little bit to add the ease right in there. See? All right, so I added like 1/4 over here, and I added 1/4 over there. And I guess maybe we could just walk it one more time just to double check, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be good now. But I like the way the back cap looks better. Okay. All right, so if we walk this into these armholes now, So again, I'm just going to walk the back along the back. Okay, so now we've got our back is right here. B. Let me just transfer that through. That's my B. And then my front. Okay, and that's going to give me my 1/4 inch that I wanted, so I'm happy with that. So my front is right here. So that means my notch will be right in the middle, right there. All right, so there's my sleeve. I'm happy with the way that fits now into this armhole. So now I'm just quickly going to sew this together. Just move all this stuff out of the way. Okay. Oh, I wonder if I have enough scraps. All right, so I think I'm not as worried about this fitting, you know, across the entire thing. So let me see. First, I'm going to cut out a sleeve, and then I'm going to cut out, I think I have enough to cut out. Let's see. I fold this. Let's see. Oh, yeah, no, it's not wide enough. All right, so I think I'm just going to do one sleeve. I'm just going to do 1/2. So let me just cut this out, because basically I just want to make sure that this sleeve fits into this armhole. Oops. So okay. All right, and then before I move that, I'm just gonna mark my middle notch here. Okay, and then I'm gonna just cut out one of each of these so we can sew it together. I think I'll have enough fabric to cut out a half muslin here. Now remember, this also does not have any, there's no ease in the bust here. Remember, I added the ease in the bust for my full size. There's one piece. This is the center front. And then we have, I think I can fit the rest of the pieces right here. We've got center back, side back, and center front. So I feel really good that I'm using the scraps of this. I've had this knocking around my room for a long time. The sheet set that I was using as for muslin fabric. So I'm glad I'm finally using it. And we're just going to sew this together and see how the sleeve fits into this armhole. Okay, so there's this piece. I don't know if you can hear it, but the wind is whipping outside like an Olympic sport from the remnants of the storm we had last night. But I was pretty pleased because it started raining later yesterday afternoon, so Anna and I got to go on our walk in the morning, and then I got to go hiking this morning because it had stopped raining by the time I got up, so that was nice. The dogs were happy. Okay. All right, so now I have all right, so now I have all my pieces. I'm going to sew those together, and then we'll see if the sleeve fits. Oops. I've got my machine here. Okay. All right, let me just stop here. Mary says, does the fall season make your hiking path more colorful? Oh my goodness. I wish, did I take a picture? Like, so one of the days I was hiking and see, here's fall leaves. And then I took a picture. Look at how gorgeous. Look at how gorgeous. I mean, that yellow doesn't even give it justice. It was like gold on fire. Like the yellow is ridiculous where I hike. It's gorgeous. So, and when the sun comes shining through, it's just spectacular. And the day I took that last picture I just showed you, it had rained while I was hiking, so I got a little bit wet. And then the sun came out, and all the water on the leaves just made it spectacular. It was incredible. All right, so this is my back, and this is my back. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these back pieces together. I'll start. I guess I could use a couple pins. Oops. To hold it. There were a couple big trees that also fell across the trail from last night, because now it got really wet, and then there were some dead trees that kind of fell over. Okay, so let's sew this at 1/2 inch. I was thinking maybe I could make my seam allowances not quite so big for a 1/2 scale, but they're 1/2 inch for now. Okay, so this is the back. Okay, then let me do my front. My little front piece. So again, I'm just gonna use a couple pins. I don't have to gather it because there isn't anything to gather here. Remember, I added it only in the full-size pattern, so I don't have to worry about easing my side front into my center front. So this will be really quick sewing. And then I have my nail appointment after this. I had to postpone it, so I feel like I'm Dragon Lady right now with my big honkin' long nails. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to sew this quickly. like this. Oh, I also want you guys to know that I have kick-started my rebranding. I'm going to start with the raglan sleeve top. So stay tuned for more details about that. I'm very excited about that project as well because I'm going to have more size inclusivity. And I'm going to update anything that isn't 100% fabulous. My friend Eric is going to help me. Okay. All right, so now I am going to just sew my shoulder seams together right here. Oops, 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 something happened with my needle and my thread. Look at that goober. What happened here? Something bad happened. I think my bobbin thread is okay. I think it's just my needle had a little issue. Let me just, oh, I think it's caught underneath my handle here. Let me fix that. There we go. All right, let me just rethread. Okay. Do not twist around that needle, sister. All right, so I've got that going now. I think I can sew my shoulder seam without having a agita here. Get that all out. All right, 1/2 inch here. Oops. I guess I have to put a pin in. I was trying to like be slick and not pin, but obviously that's not working. So let me just, all right, here we go. Why is it flipping out? And then I'm also going to sew my side seams. I got a little bit too much brightness. And then we're going to set in that sleeve. Well, for something that I thought was going to go together really quickly. All right, hold on 1 second here. Okay, so now I think you guys know I have a little dart in my sleeve and I did not mark it. So let me mark my dart. And this is my front. This is my front. So I want, well, this is my front. All right, that'll work out. All right, so this is my sleeve. So I'm just lining my fabric back up. I should have marked the dart before I took it off. Like this. So I'm just going to use my little and then I'm going to mark. I feel like that's way too bright. Yeah, that's better. And then I'm going to just mark my dart here. And where's the other one? Here. Here's my little dart. Okay, so let's sew the little dart on the elbow. All right, so I am going to be not here next week because I'm going to be in Indianapolis. So when I get back, I'm going to fine tune the fit of my you know, my whatchamajigger of the full size pattern, and then I'm going to work on designing something using my Ditto Form pattern for myself. And I think it's going to be holiday themed, like maybe a dress. All right, so now I'm going to just sew this. Half an inch. Okay, so the one thing I did not do was put some gathering stitches in here. Look at the my tiny little cap. I'm just going to run one row of stitching here because remember, there's only like a 1/4 inch of ease, so it's really not going to be a big, hairy deal here. And I'm just going to make my stitch length like 3. Okay. All right, so now I've got my gathers. All right, so now let's set this into this sleeve. And I'm kind of excited because I think it's going to fit. So I'm going to turn this right side out. And I'm going to stick it in there. Okay, my front. This is my front. And this is my front, so it's working out. I was worried I was going to cut out the wrong sleeve for the half muslin, but I didn't. All right, so another thing about having a dart in the elbow is that you can always tell what the back is from there as well, because the dart goes in the back sleeve. The back underarm seam is where the dart goes. So that's another helper for, you know. All right, so I'm just going to put my notch at this top notch is going right on my shoulder seam like that. And then I'm just going to do 1-to-1 in the underarm area, which is this part right here. And then I'm going to do 1-to-1 for the underarm part over here. I think I did my gathering stitches too close. I'm gonna say it goes till here. I'm gonna pick these stitches out because I think I didn't put my notches in. So I'm just gonna back up the gathering just that little bit. So see what I'm doing. Can you see? Oops. All right, so I'm just gonna pin from here to here, which is my underarm. And then all I have to do is gather in. You can see there's a little bit of ease on each side, so I'm just going to gather this side up from notch to the top notch, like this. So I'll gather that in, and then I'm just going to check and see what I've got going on over here. I'm going to gather this one. I just want to make sure it looks even, because there shouldn't be a lot to ease in here, because I only have like a 1/4 inch. So I'll put in a few more pins, now we're going to sew it. Like this. All right, so I've got my sleeve set in. Pinned in. Now I'm going to sew it. And this is a small little sleeve, so I'm literally just going to sew around in a circle here. Hopefully I won't run over any pins or anything. Oh shit. Oh, I swore. Sorry, I came unstitched. I came unsewn. Unthreaded. Hold on. So now let me just give me a nice sharp swoop. This pin is making me nervous. Okay. Get in there. All right. All right, let's sew this sleeve. I'm just sewing at a 1/2 inch. I definitely would not want to work 1/4 scale. I feel like this is as small of an armhole as I'd want to deal with. It's still pretty reasonably easy to sew, but any smaller would get to be a pain. That's why I would never agree to sew Barbie clothes. Okay. All right. Here we go. It's sewn in. Let's check this out. I guess it's hard to tell because there's no body to go in it, but it does fit in. It does fit. And if I just pop that on her, let's say. Okay, so now I have my little half bodice and sleeve. I'm pretty happy with the way that's fitting. Let me just show you. So see how nice she fits? So I'm pretty pleased. So it does look like doll closed. All right, so let's see. There's some comments here. Barbara's asking, is the dart in the sleeve drafted for just the sloper or for finished bodice? I'm gonna make a garment with the elbow dart because it really made it more comfortable. See, it's right back here. So there's the dart. So I'm gonna try making something with the dart. Tana says, oh, my end, your face camera is jerky motion. Anyone else see that? Well, let me know about that, Tana, or other people. My husband's trying to troubleshoot this stupid webcam I have. So, let me just see here. Hold on. Let me just pick this up so I have a better view of it. There we go, like that. Okay. Mary says, just make you like the rest of us. Just makes you like the rest of us. Uh-huh. It was misaligned at first, but it's okay now. Yep. It does look like doll clothes. Barbara says it looks great. Rose Gold says, nice fit. And Arizona Jones says, I find it too difficult to work with half scale. I do the same process in full scale, then I try on garment. But that's just me. It's not my eyesight. I'm still relatively young, LOL. All right, so Janie's confirming there's jerky motion. I'm going to find out what's going on with that before I get back on again. I'm sorry about the jerky motion. So yeah, so this is my thing. I do have to take off now because I have to go get my nails done and I have to go pick up some fabric from somebody, one of my sewing friends, on the way to the nail appointment. So I have to go, but I'll be doing more with this. And you know, if half scale is not for you, that is 100% okay. But I think it's amazing I was able to go from half scale to full scale back and forth with relatively few changes. So that was really the goal of, you know, this Fab Fit Friday. So, I mean, this whole project that I've been doing on Fab Fit Friday. Oh, I can see the jerky motion now in my monitor. All right, I will find out about that. I will fix it. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Remember, no Fit Tip Tuesday. I mean, no Fab Fit Friday next week. So I'll be in Indiana teaching pants. All right, so Barbara's agreeing with Joan. And Jennifer about Barbie clothes. Have a wonderful weekend. I think half scale is magic. Tana says that. I am thrilled with this. I am thrilled with this. So I will find ways to use this. And she's just big enough that I'm not annoyed. I will say that. All right. So I think you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you guys soon and have a nice weekend. And I'm going to go now. All right, bye-bye.